Able to see me in there, right? So red, orange, and yellow guy. All right, so I make the joke that if you can see me, that means I'm the hottest thing inside the frame right now. Sorry, fellas, but your ladies are going to giggle. And it kills with the bridal parties I get, just so you guys know. It really does. But that's really there to make a point. We're looking for blue and black, right? So those are going to be our coldest spots. Black being the coldest, white being the hottest. That's the way this guy is set up. The cool thing for you guys is that there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. So that blue dot shows us the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. I'm looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops out here. So we are 71 degrees out here ambient. So I'm going to be looking for, what is that, 56? Sorry, English guy, I'm trying to do math in my head at the same time. So about 56 degrees and colder. So basically if you find something that's 40 degrees and it's not meant to be 40 degrees, we might actually have something going on. Those blue and black areas, I'm looking for them to either take shape or to start moving on their own. When I say take shape, I want head, shoulders, moving arms and legs. That's what we've caught with this guy in the past. That's what I'm looking for in the future. So you'll see that as we kind of move through this. So Kim has requested this. Readings, Chris, anything? Zeros. Okay. So it looks like we've got a nice, fresh, clean start on everybody. All right, so welcome to the parking lot. Congrats, you made it. So I told you I'm taking you to weird spots, but this used to be relevant to the history of Charleston. So this used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. So their mansion actually sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was anywhere. Kiffin could ask a question, Kim might hear the answer. You guys getting my point? So again, try to stay focused on what you actually have. We're going to start on your end. So with Eliza, and we're going to stick, this is going to go with you too, Alistair. It's kind of weird you guys are on opposite corners. You guys must have coordinated before you met with me. I had the two skeptics in the corners, and you guys get it. Anyway, Eliza is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. So kind of a jerk move depending on what kind of gentleman you are, right? So ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. You will be looking for her initials, E-L-P, in that order. By asking for them directly, you will be asking which Eliza we're dealing with by asking what maiden name like she actually had, because they both start with L. So I would also go after the marriage questions, because that one will give us numbers as well. So how old Eliza was, or Charles, or how long they were married. That'll give you any of those numbers if you're asking directly. Okay. So the two red spirit boxes, so that would be Caroline, Lydia, and Kiffin. So you guys are going to be going after Eliza's death. So four major things that we commonly get the answers to here are how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So four majors. Anything else, just please be respectful. That's the only thing I ask while we're in this space. This is not something we want to provoke. So Jill and Mateva, you guys are going to have the same set of questions as well. They're going to be nice and easy because both of your devices work pretty much the same way. But they're like 1 to 2 syllable answers. You heard husband? We're on the right track. Sister? Yeah. There was a sister. I want the name though. I want names. All right. So back to your guys' set of focus questions. The mansion's not here anymore. What happened to it? When did that happen? Obviously, we're looking for a very specific date. So when we get the what, we normally get 2 or 3 numbers of the very specific date. So kind of take that for what it's worth. We're going to spread out in here. We're a little limited on space because I try to keep us centralized away from the vehicles. Cameras, if you have one, go ahead and get that thing started. Again, move slowly. Any readings at all? Explain that. So I'm going to do one round robin with everybody and then regroup this over
over here. It was over here.
Well, he said it's not there anymore, though, right?
It was there, yeah. What was the date?
Huh?
What was the date of the
Yeah.
mansion?
What happened to it?
What happened to the mansion?
What happened to your home, Eliza? You could walk around.
Yeah. I don't want it.
Huh?
I'm trying to walk with you.
Anything else? Did you hear
We heard Rose.
You did hear Rose.
Yes.
Yes.
We asked what kind of plant she grew in the garden.
Oh, so you asked a specific question?
Yes.
Yep.
Nice. All right. This way.
Oh, am I still recording? Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
All right. Exactly as you were with that top handle. Perfect. So if other tours come through here, they usually come through out of that ivy wall, or they'll come in basically the same way we just did. So I'll explain more about this space as we kind of go through this whole piece of history. But we're going to let this couple pass through before I continue. Come on through, guys.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, we didn't bring a spotlight with us put on yet. So this is called Philadelphia Alley now. It used to be called Dueller's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So every ghost tour comes down here, and I'll be honest with you, this is when I'm retiring after this year. So after this month, I will not be coming down here as much. So come on through, guys. Sorry. Every year I change this up. I take out one space and add a new one because I do get a lot of repeat ghost hunters, and they don't want to see the exact same spaces every time, even though the evidence is different every single time. And since every ghost tour comes down here, I figure this one's about due. I'll be honest, the Pinckney Mansion site was supposed to be retired this year because I was getting very disrespectful people out of some of my groups. So, hi guys. Good. So I just kind of gave it a break as I looked into other spaces, which is our last space for this route that we have now. But this one, I'm not going to be doing it after this month because in November, right after Halloween, I start looking into the new space. So the new space is going to be a murder mystery that has never been solved in Charleston. So for those of you that revisit every year, hopefully I'll be able to make that connection and find out where we're going to make that connection with her. So anyway, back to why we're here. Jeweler's Alley. Here's how it goes. I'm going to be giving you different details just because you're not on a campfire marshmallow type of ghost tour. So the doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. For those of you with communication devices, if you get the song Brown Eyed Girl, it is not coincidence. We get it here all the time because it's part of the doctor's name. So let these folks pass through. Oh, you're good. Excuse us. ALISTAIR, I need you looking for the letters R-I in that specific order, mainly for Rhode Island, and it's going to make more sense here in just a minute. But anyway, the doctor moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She's an attorney, helping her out with all of this cash flow she just got, and the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. Oh, sorry, ladies. So, Dr. Ladd is going to move down here to Charleston to prove that he's not after Amanda's money, and on his way into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay in Charleston. So somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph for a second. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from, R.I. So on our regular spirit boxes, we were getting the letters R.I. all the time. So that's exactly why I bought the device that ALISTAIR is using. I wanted that R.I. specifically to make sure I wasn't mishearing it. So we've had it probably about half a dozen times in the past 8 months. So take that for what it's worth as I bring up Ralph. So it's mainly related to him. Back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. He's got a gunman inside. Come with me. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room there, and you'll be safe and good to go. The doctor took him up on the offer. The two became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. So Amanda gets wind of this. She's moving down so they can get married, and Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. That's another reason why I'm taking this one out. Ours just happens to be a doctor, so let's move forward. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. So on the way home, after seeing Richard III, they're walking and they're arguing over the new actress they just saw. The doctor thought she was great, Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island. Excuse us. Sorry. You're good. Now, with all of that said, they really get into it, and they go their separate ways. And I already told you that Ralph has friends around town. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, and he basically places an ad telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of thing. Doctor saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. We're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die. Keep in mind that this argument started over an actress. Kind of silly, right? So they came down, they took their 10 paces away from each other, they turned, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up to the fight. However, Ralph has his one bullet. Does anybody want to guess what part of the body Ralph put his bullet in?
Heart.
His gut or his chest.
Nope. Nope, it was in his kneecap. So, with that, the doctor did not die. He falls to the ground, and Ralph proved his point that he's still pissed off and not willing to forgive. His friends carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment on November 2nd of 1786. I'll point out two things. It's 1786. Gunshot wounds were a lot different back then. The man's also a doctor. That's why he refused the medical treatment. He probably thought he just had, lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself. So we get a lot of crazy terms down here, but every ghost tour that comes down here will tell you, listen for the whistles while you're here. It's always this quiet, by the way. It is a Friday night, and the market is only, what, a block and a half away from here? We should hear the market, but we don't. On a busy Saturday afternoon, it's just like this. So if you're going to try this on your own and take your voice recorders from your phones and walk all the way through here and listen for those whistles later on, just keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single morning. When I'm done with your guys' data, I'm walking back to my garage at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I always throw a whistle down here. Ever since I got kicked out. Let's talk about that. That sounds like a good time, right? There's a reason why we're not all the way down there. This will also show you how much research I put into these histories that I give you. The alley did not go all the way through this way. There was a wall up there. The reason why is because they had to block in all the livestock. This used to be called Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley. So imagine a bunch of cows and chickens down here. What does that mean for you guys? Those bricks on that end are older than the ones we're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there, along with fingerprint swipes and others. I used to take my groups all the way through, just to show off that piece of history, to show how far we've come from slavery. No matter the diversity of my groups, we all need to see it. However, I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid's not there. That's the last place you're going to find him. November 26th, 2020. My entire group of 10, same size as you guys, is huddled around one brick, waiting for something to happen with the gear I handed out. I'm trying to shoo them along because I know nothing's going to happen. Secondly, it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm trying to be respectful, not realizing I was out of bounds for tours. I was new at this. I didn't know what the hell I was doing yet. But anyway, so the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night and her dad's getting yelled at. So it was fantastic, hilarious for her. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked for the largest retailer in upper management for a good part of 20 years. So take that for what it's worth. I was the guy who had to break up the fights with the towels. So kind of put that in perspective. I don't do Thanksgiving. The next day, November 28th, the date's irrelevant, Chris. Don't worry, I'm getting to it. I kind of see him looking all the way down at the end of the alley. So the 28th, I called my partner that I had at the time, and I told him what happened. He laughed at me, just like my daughter, and he said, you're only allowed to go down halfway, or reroute the group. So I decided I'm going to reroute the group. What I told them, I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. We're going to be discussing pirates next, in case you haven't, picked up on that. So somebody on a spirit box, here's the name Anne. I didn't tell them which pirate we're going to be looking into, the famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe we got something. I get around the corner, told them what I did know about pirates, which wasn't much. Somebody else with a spirit box, here's the number 300. I don't know what it means, I write it down. I'm doing the research for them back at the office. We were there November 28th of 2020, Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300-year anniversary of the pirate trial. I see a lot of smug faces like, yeah, that's some cool stuff. I was pissed, let me tell you why. Especially when I'm doing this, I have a master's degree in creative writing. I like facts and data. Pirate stories come from pirate lore that were written 100 years after the fact that these events actually are happening. You two laugh because it sounds like you guys know. So this was not something I was looking to dive into, and I've had to read more books on pirates trying to debunk what we're about to find at the next location more than anything. It is a 50-50 shot roll of the dice if Anne's going to be there at the same time we are, but that's, as is such with all paranormal areas. Hopefully we're going to get bleed over from this location as well. Before we leave, the gate. I know I talk a lot at this space, but I'm taking advantage that there's nobody else talking over me at this point. The gate. Remember I told you the alley didn't go all the way through this way. So if there was a loser to the duel down here, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery right behind me on the other side of the wall. So I call it the death gate. Otherwise, they'd have to take their dead body and go all the way down to Queen Street and then double back. It was kind of like a double standard before they can go, celebrate the winner with a pint. So anything that was heard, I hear a lot of crunching in your guys' ears. Do you guys see anything on our word list? Anything on the, what do we have going on before we leave the space?
I haven't heard anything yet, but I was going to ask if this was all original cobblestone or was it originally just all brick? And
it's always been brick.
Okay,
to my knowledge, it's
noticing the cobblestone along
those are just
parts
fillers
of
because it broke off. So they just fill it in to kind of give it that Charleston-y look. You're going to see, I debunk a lot of things about the Charleston look. Chris, it looked like you were about to tell me something?
I've had Sebastian when we first got here.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Just a second ago, got Nona on stairs, across, and hot.
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing.
And then grandparent annually.
Yeah.
Problem.
Nothing. Okay. Girls, anything out of you? I know, I talk a lot at this space, so I figured the younger people are going to be listening to the spirit box versus me. Ladies, anything out of yours? And you were on mute. So as we go up and around the corner, feel free to unmute. We're going to go up and we're going to, obviously I'll give you the history of Anne Bonny. And then we're going to explore the space the same way we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. Any readings out of you, Chris, at all?
Well, it's been steady.
Okay. Yeah. If it's a steady, then it's coming from the light.
Yep.
So, perfect.
I just had briefly my brother, if that means anything.
I don't know. I'm going to write it down though for sure. All right, let's go learn about some rated R pirates. Let's see if we can do this. Nobody got my dad joke? The rated R pirates? Daughter, when she's on the tour, punches me every time I do that.
Surprise.
What?
I heard surprise.
Oh, really?
100 and surprise.
Anybody else feel a little bit of rain?
Yeah. A little bit.
A quick check just to see where we're at with that. In the event that it starts raining while we're at this location, we'll obviously go across the street to the garage. So the only thing I'll ask is, I know none of you are going to melt, just protect the gear. You guys got the point, right? Perfect. So by the way, the next location is going to be a lot different than what we've been doing. The next location is our last stop. So we're going to be doing the Estes method. Is anybody familiar with that?
I'm vaguely familiar with it somewhat.
So 2 people. One person will be blindfolded and have noise canceling headphones on and a spirit box, and they will be our ghost. They're not going to know the history of the space, but the rest of you all will. So I'll be talking to them as if they're the ghost, and they will be telling me whatever they hear coming out of their spirit box, and it should look like a conversation. So basically, it's about 30 to 35% accurate, but there's a secondary piece to this, where there is a secondary person wearing a VR cam, and it's going to have my phone in there and use EMF the same way Chris's device are, and it's going to create AI imagery that has never been seen before. The cool thing about that is that it might actually match up with what is being said from the person under the blindfold. So that is about 40 to 45% accurate to that space. Those 2 people will sit on a bench while I teach the other 8 people the history, and then we will come back and they're not going to know anything. We're going to see how this actually works out. And Jill's looking at me like, oh my God, this is terrifying. Again, it is super cool, and it could be super funny because the person that is blindfolded doesn't know the history. So we might just get a bunch of silly answers out of them. Like, what color is a banana? They might say blue, you know, those kind of things. But at the same time, we never know how that conversation is going to look. It is a lot of fun, and even on our end as spectators. So I'll go over that as when we get up to that next space. So I usually bring that up now because if somebody wants to volunteer for that already has been listening to a spirit box. So, ALISTAIR, I already kind of had you pegged for the VR bit. Since your device hasn't been super active tonight, I thought you might want to have some fun with the AI imagery and see how that pops up. You 2 can fight over who's going to be blindfolded. And then Mom can be the referee, apparently. So, all right. Every tour comes here as well, but we're going to be looking at that little tiny building in a much different light. That is the gunpowder magazine. That held gunpowder for 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. Those are not crosses on the building. Those are earthquake bolts. Part of the reason why we're here, let me explain. Earthquake bolts, if you don't know what they are, they're basically turnbuckles. You can tighten them if we have another earthquake, and it's supposed to tighten up the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. You guys have seen them all over town, and part of the Charleston charm with the lion heads and pineapples and all that stuff all over. That is the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. They were put in because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here simply because that building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here to start a new life. This is what I call a familiar. It seems like a lot of you watch those ghost hunting TV shows. They've used the Boo Buddy on most of them. The Boo Buddy is a teddy bear with basically an EMF blinky light one inside of it, so in case a child ghost gets near it, then we actually have some activity. The reason they use the Boo Buddy is because they want the child to recognize that as a toy. Same principle. We don't have many buildings this old in Charleston, so the hope is that she's going to be here at the same time we are because she recognizes it from her own era. You guys getting the point of why we're here? Perfect. Let's get into the history. The building took 10 years to build. For those of you that love government jokes, does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years?
Absolutely.
So, 1708. Try to follow me. There's a lot of twists in this story. I will slow down on them, but there's a lot here, so I will talk fast. 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? The 3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was the wife that she booted him out of the country? So gents that are here with your ladies, treat your ladies right. They'll kick you all the way up to Canada. Now, back to Anne. They land in Georgetown. Dad bought a plantation up there. That's between us and Myrtle Beach, by the way, if you're not familiar with the coast. And Mom dies pretty quickly after getting here. So that means Dad is now sending young Anne down here to sell things from that plantation to keep things afloat up there. Getting him a point. Familiar building. Now, Anne back home in Ireland was said to be a badass even when she was only 7, 8, 9 years old in Ireland. They say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Can't tell you how many times we've had servant, knife, and belly show up out of 3 different communication devices, and these 3 people have no idea what's going on from the other 2 people.
Dog and I did just have "You Are With God" briefly come through.
We're near the biggest church that we have, so I expect all those religious phrases. Back to Anne. Fast forward, the building's done in 1713. By 1715, Anne, well, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. The reason why is because she's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom just like a man. It's a man's world. First guy she falls in love with, and I said first because there's a handful, and that's what makes the story so damn interesting, so we're going to go through them all. First guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going because we've mentioned her pirate name already. So, Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where the pirate name comes from. However, when she gets down to Jamaica and she's married, she realizes her new husband is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which makes him a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wants. She falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the same guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, by the way, in case you were wondering who this guy actually is. Jack has his own ship. He has his own crew. Anne wants to be part of the crew. Can't put a female on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why? And keep it family friendly. We have teenage years here. Going once, twice. It's bad luck. I've seen all those wheels spinning adults.
I was going to say
it's
something
bad
else.
luck. So Jack makes a deal with Anne. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you could be part of the crew. Anne's okay with this. Why? Because first off, she wants to be a pirate, but Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. But all of the adults in the room, let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out she's a girl. So Jack drops her off in Cuba, have the baby here, come back later, we'll figure it out. She goes and has that baby, but returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to that child, by the way. None of the books or research I've ever done has ever discovered it. But she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. Now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the ship. So to make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew that's down below deck. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship. Her name, Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because of the time period, and it's pirate lore, correct? Now, the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take down one measly pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks. Obviously, they're not going to be able to take on a whole fleet of ships. They don't know how to use cannons yet, by the way, because they haven't been pirates for very long. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her beau and captain, Calico Jack, and she says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up in communication devices all the time. The judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front, and they reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. The judge does not give a shit that they are female. They are pirates, and he's going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted to him, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know because of the time frame. But she has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we don't really know much about her after her pirate career. I'm even speculating on what I just told you. Some stories say she went up to Virginia. Some say she stayed here. We don't even know what the hell her name was. So whatever she changed it to. It could be anything. Mary Reed dies 5 months later in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books will tell you that it was fever. I'm going to call bullshit on that one and say let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? We're talking about pirates. Here's what I left out of the story. I'm not going to assign questions here. This is also a place where you can kind of kick Anne in the shins to get those answers. This is not a prominent English woman where you have to tiptoe around and I have to give you the specific questions of what to ask. Here's what I did leave out though, just so you have something to start off with. The names of her parents. I called them the father and the mistress. I did not give you names. Find out what their names are. The name of Calico Jack's ship. I didn't tell you what that was either. The city where Anne grew up in Ireland. That's been coming up more and more. And the color of her hair. Everything else is fair game here.
Keeps
So
peeking
Chris,
out
the only
from
thing with
behind
yours, the
him.
closer you get that way to electrical poles, parking meters on the other side. I'm more excited back here, just so you know. And then Lydia, with your camera, the ivy wall is not your friend. All the leaves are in front of each other. It's going to make it look like a bunch of people dancing on the wall. So again, you want to do everywhere but this wall. Everywhere else is kind of slow motion. Your camera loves to mess up in here. It's happened at least half a dozen times in 4 years. That's enough for me to say it's the location, not the camera. So just let me know if you see anything weird. Definitely get unmuted. Stay out of the way of the other tours. The last car already left. Space is ours. Let's get to work. ALISTAIR, you got anything going on there?
I want to
I
go
do want to see your word
because
list.
Yeah.
I just want to see it.
you got to tell him about those words you're to me too.
What did I say? 100 and surprise.
100 and surprise when we were walking out, and then I heard us when he was talking about the two female
Go
pirates.
back and go back in.
She said Annie when we started.
Oh.
That's Annie.
I
Right?
just saw a shadow go.
No?
Yes.
I would be more excited if it just said the letter A. This to me is a specific word of any.
Okay.
So, it's Annie.
I don't know if it's.
It's A-N-N-I-E or
Did you see how the
A-N-N-Y.
skin went green?
Yes.
Birds showed up over there. Okay.
7.
Meat.
Like to hold it for that
Called
long?
cow
So
out.
heavy.
Oh, that did right after it said pink.
Yep.
Pinky.
So, and you have pinky finger.
Well, finger was first, and that was over when we were at Eliza's.
So
Look,
I
look,
feel
look,
like
look,
that is
look,
almost
look,
a
look at
phrase
it.
together.
Okay.
Even though it's like opposite,
Yeah.
it's gonna
That's
grab
crazy.
you. Listening to radio
That's crazy.
stations just like your girls are. So that's what those numbers
I'm
are.
not
Those are
doing
radio
anything.
words.
Okay.
So if it recognizes something out of its 90,
He says it messes up in
dictionary,
here.
That's where your words are coming from.
Okay.
So that's
That's nuts.
Stairs thing is
Yeah, that was when you were talking about.
And I don't know if it's
people
because it's the
getting shot and
distance,
going
which it
back
could be.
You have nothing going on there.
Yeah, I want
I'd
to
be
tell
curious.
him.
I don't think I've ever worked with numbers with that guy in this location. So if you may want to switch it to numbers, maybe ask Ann what year she was born. I'm just going to tell you it was 1698.
Okay.
So if you get that, and her birthday is 422. So I'll give you that one as well.
We had a couple things to tell you.
What
You
you
can
got?
tell him
Oh,
first.
walking
your
out
name
of the.
My name?
No, the pirate
Oh, Ann Bonnie.
and Bonnie.
I know it's two first names, but Bonnie is spelled with a Y instead of an I. So
Does the word mill over mean anything?
Ann Mill over?
Yeah.
Nope, but I'm going to write it down.
And also
Walking
had,
out of
like,
the alley was 100 and surprise.
100 surprise.
and I also just had that after the mill over between between July or June, something like that.
Or was it June or July?
I was both. It was like kind of the abbreviation of both, and then.
So you heard like the June.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So just,
Yeah.
damn it.
And
I want something a little bit more
When you
solid.
were talking about the two females,
Mhm.
I heard us. And also when I was like, I don't know if it's anything or if it was just but I thought I like kept seeing something behind him when he was standing next to you when you were talking. Like keep
Were
peeking
you
out.
filming that way?
Yes.
You said 1698 was your birthday?
Yes. 1698 was the year she was born.
Oh, we're closer to there.
Yeah, I want to go towards the. You got to get in front of me though because I got to keep somebody in.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I got to keep to get the heat signature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So okay, this is cool. This is good. Because I just feel like.
Something right there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like the shadow of the building. Get in front of me. Like the shadow of the
What was,
building.
what was your father's name? Mistress's name.
Where did you come from? What happened to your baby? Mexican or Cuban music. It was.
Yeah.
He said, "Don't do the wall."
How many children did you have? What was your husband's name?
Did you ever love her on the boat? What was your mother's name? How old were you when you came over here?
What happened to your baby in Jamaica?
Where does this go? Let's go back over this way. I feel like I had better. Stop, stop.
Did you have long hair or short hair?
Yeah, I just had red and stop. What was Calico Jack? Six. What was Calico Jack? Shit. Are you done? Did you just ask if we were done?
I just feel like it was more active over here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. What city were you born in? What city were you born in?
What year did you come over here?
Lydia.
How many times were you married?
Sure, we can definitely say it because she's like me.
Wow,
this is heavy.
That's not right.
Huh?
I heard 5, but that's not right.
Did you?
I heard 5.
What was the city that
That
you were born in?
could it be how many guys she had?
Yeah.
When did your dad die?
What city did you die in?
What happened to Calico Jack? Is he trying to call you?
Any other words on yours, Krista?
Give it to Lydia so I can
Oh. See, I want to play with this.
Right?
What do you guys are typing stuff up now? What do we have?
No,
She heard. We asked like how many husbands?
husbands or how many men she was with.
She said,
I heard
and she got 5.
Okay.
I just got the numbers 2 and 8 when I asked if she had any grandchildren, and then how many true marriages she had. And those were 2 numbers I got.
2, 8, and then you guys had the number 5. And again, I'm sure she had many lovers.
Yeah, yeah,
There's just no count of them.
yeah. And then we asked about her baby, and then we heard a bunch of Cuban music, and then it just
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
happens
It was,
often
and it was like really pronounced.
yeah.
Any letters? Any words?
Got 9 and 8.
9 and 8. Consecutive?
Yes.
Okay. It's there. It's not the full 1698, but it's still a 98. If you had to get a consecutive, it had to make a double loop around in order to get that 98.
Not sure this relation name, but briefly.
What was your your first husband's name?
There's a lot of that going on, and with the teenagers in the group, like, I don't
Something was coming through, but I couldn't hear it. I
I
couldn't
know.
understand it.
I know.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
get
I
again.
understand that. That's why I kind of whispered
What?
it.
What was your first husband's name, Anne? How old were you when your father brought you here? I'm just trying to, like, I don't see anything anymore now. Well, it's,
What was the mistress's name?
oh, that's a good question. It got quiet.
Did you like the mistress?
What was your mother's name? Her baby.
The syllable is there, the sound is there, but it's not a full, like, I'm gonna count. Krista, you capturing anything on here? Yeah, your shadow's gonna have some.
How old were you when you passed away? Did you have grandchildren?
How many children did you have? We know you had a baby. That, not sure what. Every time I say baby,
Yeah.
every time. Did your baby? Did the baby grow up in Cuba? Did you ever?
Was the baby a boy or a girl?
It's Cuban music again.
Mm-hmm.
Did you name your baby? Did someone take your baby?
Every time there's baby, you say baby.
Yeah,
Cuban
it's like
music.
Cuban music.
Is your baby in Cuba? Was your baby born in Cuba? Right?
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Was your baby a boy or a girl?
Did you miss your baby? Did they force you to leave your baby there?
No. Not much happens when we, other than Cuban music.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Did you ever go back to see your baby? Who was the father? Needle in the haystack.
Okay.
Oh my God!
That little hussy.
Wow.
Yeah, tell him that one. I'm gonna go over and tell him that one.
Yeah. That's,
Like, I actually get excited about 2.5. Uh-oh, ladies
So
got
we
something.
asked, what'd you say, who was the father of your baby?
Yes.
And you said needle in the haystack.
needle in the haystack.
So she has no idea.
She has
She has no idea, exactly.
I mean,
and
that was
every
very
time we
clear.
mention the baby, we hear Cuban music. Every single time. That's crazy.
Needle in the haystack.
Needle
That was
in the
clear as
haystack.
day.
That was, yeah, that
very
was
clear.
really clear.
Okay.
So the baby was born in Cuba.
Yeah.
What else can we ask? I want to know more about the baby. Okay. I want to know about the other female pirate. What was her name?
little wood boxes are very popular. Usually that thing is going off like crazy. Yeah.
Were you two lovers?
Yes.
You,
I heard yes.
you heard yes?
I heard yes.
Ah! Where'd he go? Come back
I
here.
heard yes. Yes, like low.
Was she your true love? Did Calico Jack know?
All right, guys, let's see what we got here. Let's get everybody to the wall.
Let's see.
Well, we gotta tell him. I'm excited.
Every time, baby. Cuban. Right here.
Would asking because I got I asked is Charleston still familiar to her, and she says not what I got the words not what used to.
Not what it used to be. Exactly.
Tell him. We asked if they were lovers, the two female pirates,
Yeah.
and she heard yes.
Still a yes, no. I'll write it down. It's a direct answer. Again, I hate yes, no questions.
I know.
Yeah.
And when you guys go back and watch your TV shows, you're going to laugh your asses off because that's all they do. Are you here? Can you tell us your name? It's still a yes, no question if you really think about it.
So how do you feel about when they ask them to like knock something over or kick something?
Well,
Or
if that's a whole different ballgame. Like, you get what you asked for. So we're going to cover the answers. Did you guys fight over who's going to go blindfolded?
I am. No, I am. Not you.
Who's going to be the tiebreaker of like what's going on here?
I'm your child. I am your flesh
This
and
is
blood.
like your dream, so like,
you gotta work.
What do you have?
I'm okay with that.
Take that.
Wax. I don't know. Don't know. I'm going to write it down. You've given us 2 words so far tonight, and both of them had an X in it. That's kind of weird. Yeah, think about that. All right, so let's kind of cover the answers. If you have a camera, by all means, give your hands a break. Go ahead and hit that stop button. Kind of turns out to be. We just never know what it's going to be. Create a comic book style image of 11 people in a park with 2 people on a bench at night with a full moon in the background. I give it a lot of details on purpose,
Yeah.
so that way.
Yeah.
So what happens now is Bing will say, "I'll try to create that," and she's working on it. And then she'll give me 4 options to be able to choose from. I slap my logo on it, and it goes on my social media. I normally put like skeletons on tricycles in a cemetery and just funny shit to put up so you guys all book your tours. So that's kind of how that works for me. But I do this every day. So whether it goes on Google or on Facebook, and then sometimes I'll create images that are for my TikToks that create the stories of some of the stuff you guys may have heard tonight. So it only created 3 for me because I was very specific. It looks like it took out so many people in a park. It just added a few. But you can see, like, you guys are getting the point of how this works. Yeah, you guys nodded your head quite a bit. So we're on a bench, this one gave it a full number. So that was a big number for it to handle such a small image. So I was surprised that it even gave me that, to be quite honest with you. So basically what's going to happen is Alistair is going to describe what images he sees when I give him my phone. It's going to be in his eyesight only. You guys will get all of those images back. So I do put that in your data set. So again, his is about 40 to 45% accurate. What Caroline's going to be telling us is only 30 to 35% accurate. So sometimes if they work together, we have a much better chance of something actually working. So don't put anything on yet. I'm going to go teach them the history. You guys sit here and chat for fun. All right.
I
Let's go
also
with
got, I'm 18, 16 volunteers while in class.
all while walking.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get those numbers from you again when I'm writing things down, but I'm going
I
to tell
got
you.
a lot of numbers. Those are the only ones that I remember though, but
I need to tell you why the wall is accurate. So the wall is accurate simply because we were walking where the original Charlestown wall used to be. It used to go up to Cumberland Street, up to that corner, down Meeting Street. So we were literally walking where the original wall used to be. We normally get it by the powder magazine because that's where, it was inside the original Charlestown walls. So the first time I came over here, I had no idea what we were going to find. There's a lot of monuments, a lot of tours come through here. I only had 2 people because it's November and it gets cold down here, and everybody else canceled. So the person using the spirit box, here's the year 1828, and then the name Henry. I'm using the word list that Lydia now has, and I have the name Tim on there. This is Henry Timrod. born in 1828. I shit you not. So I was like, well, there's my ghost. So this whole blindfold test came later on, once I wanted to make sure everything was legit. So here's how his story goes. It takes 2 minutes. He's sick through most of his life, but he's a writer. So being born in 1828, he's old enough to fight in the Civil War. He goes out to the battlefield to fight the Confederate side, and his comrades realize he's too sick to fight. So they said, go home and be the voice of the war. They wanted him to write about what was going on. So he started writing poetry and became known as the laureate of the Confederacy. Pretty prestigious title. So a couple of years go by, and he has a son. That son's name is Willie. He's born on Christmas Eve, and he died 9 months later. So very sad for him and his wife Katie. A couple more years go by, and he's not writing as much. His other writer friend, Paul Hamilton, he realizes this and says, you know what, go out to my cottage, and you can finish getting back on track out there, leave Katie behind. She's getting on with her parents. He goes out to that cottage and wrote his last words. The last words were, "Beholder of brief mortality," meaning dear person with short life. And then he coughed, and it landed on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis. Now, the weird thing about that blood stain is it looks like a man writing at his desk. So, they show that page 1 day a year on Halloween at the Charleston Library Society, because that's where his collection is being held, and you have to be a member to go see the blood, because that's what we all call it. However, the internet's beautiful, and I'm going to show you what the page looks like, and then we're going to go talk to Caroline, if she's Henry Timrod, and see if I can get any answers with her. So, it's basically a form of channeling for those of you that are unfamiliar with this.
Well, I know since we've been here in this park, I've been hearing nothing but Civil War music on my spirit box.
So you can see this is his last page. Bloodstain definitely looks like a man writing at his
Definitely
desk.
see that.
So,
That's insane.
for me,
But
the
cool.
page tells the whole story, because it's like, dear person with a short life, pop, pop, death, and then this is the legend of the man. So, again, all of the blood book is a very interesting piece. The guy is pretty timid. I think he's going to see what we're talking about. We'll kind of see how this goes. Now that all the other toys are out of here, we got the whole place to ourselves, so let's go see what we can get out of it. Ready? You're going to just tell us simple things that you're seeing. So if you see 11 people, 2 people in the end, 3, that's all you're going to see. I'm going to be focused on her conversation. We're all going to see those images anyway. I'm going to see a blindfold. I'll open it up for you. So with yours, a little bit different. You are going to tell us everything you hear in real time. It should look like you and I talking and having a conversation, only you're not going to hear it. So that's the whole point.
Are you watching it? Are you getting words?
Yep, even yes no answers. If you hear a weird sound, like a siren going by or something along those lines, sometimes I ask our ghost if there's something going on in real time, just so I can verify that he's actually here. So yeah,
That's good.
tell me everything you're hearing.
7 o'clock, just about.
Yes, no answers. You don't know what I'm asking. So I'm only going to keep you guys under for 10 minutes. So Mom, where are you at? Because you're going to be my person. So when we're wrapping things up, you're going to tap her on the leg. So this is the only thing that I time. So remember, tap on the leg means you take off your own stuff. I'm not going to touch your member. If you're talking too loud, Mom's going to tap you on the shoulder and just quiet down a little bit. I don't think you're going to have that problem. Very quiet. If you're not talking loud enough, Mom may lift up the earmuff and say louder. We're going to keep it nice and simple. Okay? So this is like a Batman mask. It's not going to go all the way around your head. So your ears go in here where my fingers are. And then you're going to put the earbuds in. Once you find a comfortable volume, don't touch the spirit box. We want to make sure you're not cheating. Is that fair? Okay. Go ahead and get started. I'm going to set up Allison, and then once she gets her earbuds in, you're going to put these over top of her ears. So these pull down, and then you want these. So she gets all set up. And then, have you ever used AI before? No.
It's stopping on letters, though.
Yeah.
I will set this up real quick. And then as soon as you get those earmuffs on, Carolyn, you're going to start talking, and that's when I start the timer. So don't forget to talk. Most people get under there and they forget to talk. Just give me a second. Just takes a second to calibrate where we are. Take your headset so I can slide my phone in there. And then this will fit all the way over your head. And it's been sanitized. Okay. I sanitize everything twice. And then we're gonna like get in nice and tight here, guys. Like we're pretty loosey goosey, so. And definitely get all of this on film. Yep. And that would be all cameras.
Are your earbuds in?
but the best one is going to be Alex's. You're going to tell us everything that's not gray smoke. Do you see how that looks?
Yes.
So your picture is going to show up just like that, and it's a keyboard in multiple colors, just so you guys know what this is. Oh, it's not a keyboard. There are two men in there, two old men with mustaches. So your focus is right here. It's a little dial. Okay, there you go. Okay, you're all good to go on your end? Okay. Come on, you figure those out?
I'll never get up.
We don't want you to do that.
Well, one of us has to help the other up.
Oh, okay. What you hear?
Yeah, you want a little reference.
You want to put this back in?
I was going to listen to him. Probably you might not be able to hear him. If you put those on.
Henry
You
Timrod.
might not be able to.
If you're here, push through. This is Caroline. She can hear whatever you want us to hear. This is Alistair. You can see whatever you want us to see. So far we have the word reference. Can you tell me something about your occupation? We're going to start off nice and slow.
Across the country.
Can you tell us something about your occupation?
Face yourself.
Talk right home. She stopped talking. Henry. Henry, can you push through?
I see pink flames.
And I know October is kind of a hard month for you. Your son died and stuff. This is the anniversary of your death. But if you want to push through and talk about your work, then do that. Can you tell us about your work? What it is you did for an occupation? You can also give us some images. Is somebody else here with you?
I see the sun. I see the sun and clouds and the sky.
Talk about your son. He has some questions.
Ghost tour.
I see
Turn your
black walls
does it ever?
that stretch out for miles, a gray sky, and a lot of ghost-looking people.
So much.
No, it looks like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Right?
I've asked you a lot of questions so far. I'll let you keep going. It's just random questions. Talk about your son or your occupation. One of those two topics.
Plan. Captain Herbert Walking. Feel. Relax.
It's a no direct answer to what I've asked. Alright. Simple answer is what you did for work. What was your occupation? guys listening back there? Are you just listening to your spirit box?
I don't have any.
Can you tell me if your occupation made you rich or poor? About 5 minutes, just so everybody knows. Henry, can you tell us if your occupation made you rich or poor?
As of now, she's got, you playing David? KRISTA?
Henry, is somebody else here with you? No, not talking.
They didn't do it.
Henry.
Warmer.
Are you guys hearing anything on your spirit box at all?
A few things, but it's not anything music and stuff. A couple of words, you know.
Henry, we come with respect, trying to learn more about you. This is how I've been learning about you. A lot of those phrases like, right now, as of this, like very weird characters. Henry, we're gonna call it quits and nice and early. We'll leave you alone.
Sure.
Do you want us to leave?
Promise. Summer.
Henry,
So,
ask you a lot of questions.
right now, at the moment,
Very vague stuff. You guys see what it's like? I'm like, you got nothing going on here?
more excited.
Oh, I see something.
This is the main
Oh, I can't make this out. It's just a bunch of colors. It's I see green, pink, and they're all kind of blurry. It's like a garden patch, and there's dirt around it.
Nobody's hearing anything on your spirit boxes at all? And I'm going to tell you, you're just muted.
I've heard the former commander a few minutes ago.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and tap her out. We're about that here. We got a whole lot of help. Okay, we're wrapping it up. So, you went about 8 minutes. We didn't have a whole lot going on, so I decided to call it. Alistair, let's go ahead and get that thing off your face.